Welcome back to Klein's Corner. Wow, it has been a while. I'm excited. I think last one was February 2025. But yeah, I'm excited to be back. Your favorite place, you get your news, knowledge, and action. I have had some more time on my hands, so I thought, you know what, there's been exciting stuff in sports, especially in the city of Seattle. So I thought, why not just do a quick pod to get talking about, everything that's going on in the 206, the Emerald City, the Pacific Northwest. We're going to actually start out this podcast. Like I said, we're going to talk about Seattle sports. So buckle up. It's going to be a fun one. A lot to talk about today. We're going to get into a few things. We're going to talk about the Mariners spending real money. The Seahawks just won something called Bowl of the Super Game, Super Bowl 60. They beat the New England Patriots in a thriller, a defensive masterpiece of a game, chefed up by Mike McDonald himself. And last thing, oh yeah, Sonics, are they coming back to Seattle? Bum bum bum. Okay, let's start out with the Seahawks. Wow, oh my God, what what a fun season for the Seahawks. Excuse me. Some people didn't have them making the playoffs. They thought that some people, I think Nick Wright was saying that the Cardinals were going to be better than the Seahawks. The freaking Cardinals. Are you kidding me? Jonathan Gannon, see you later. He's gone. They fired their coach. Kyler Murray, they literally sacked Kyler Murray because Jacoby Brissett was playing better football than he was. Granted, Jacoby Brissett got a lot of garbage time, but they won more games with Jacoby Brissett. Maybe Kyler Murray is still lingering with his what was it, knee injury, something like that. It was just, I mean, so they got a lot of questions regarding their future, specifically their quarterback, and I believe they hired the Packers defensive coach. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they made coaching changes, and but there's some stuff to talk about at the quarterback position. Anyways, let's go back to the Seahawks. Yes, the Seahawks are your Super Bowl 60 champions. The game was just, some people called it boring. Some people called it people hated on it. They said it was a snooze fest. I mean, obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a Seahawks fan, so I was going to be happy with the outcome. I mean, obviously, if they won, that's the reason. That's how I would be happy. Um, Specifically, especially because this one just was so sweet based off of what happened the last time the Seahawks and Patriots played. We don't talk about that. That Super Bowl, specifically that play, is like Voldemort, what is it in Voldemort is he who shall not be talked he who shall not be named. That's the play who shall not that shall not be said. That's that Malcolm Butler cat interception, who Malcolm Butler was literally only played 16 snaps that whole entire game. And one Super Bowl MVP become it because of it. Fun fact, two Malcolms, 2 years in a row, there was two players with the first name Malcolm. Malcolm Smith for the Seahawks and Malcolm Butler for the Patriots. Won back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs. Two Malcolms. So shout out to Malcolms out there in the 2010s. The Seahawks won 29-13. Drake May just played like dog water. He was one vote away from from being MVP or tying. MVP. He had the same amount of votes. He would have the same amount of votes. 15 took Matthew Stafford had 15 MVP, first place MVP total votes, and Drake May had 14. Shout out to my guy Justin Herbert. He had he had a vote, and it's understandable why he would get a vote. I mean, Rashawn, their O line was just. Is it how I can't even describe it. I'm trying to think of like the worst. It's worse than dog water. It's so bad. He took so many sacks, an insane amount of sacks. In that playoff game, they sacked him 7 times. Are you kidding me? It's insane. He got sacked so many times. They had Rashawn Slater's out for the year, so they were like, okay, this might be a little hard. They and then 6 games in, Joel gets injured and he's out for the season. So they were just cooked at that point. And Omar Hampton got injured. He was out for a while, and he's the running back, the guy that they drafted in the first round. So they were really hoping he could, keep the ball, keep the game moving with the run game. Kamani Vidal was actually not that bad, so I can't hate on Kamani Vidal that much. Um, but yeah, so Justin Herbert got a vote because he led them to the playoffs, led the Chargers to the playoffs, and obviously they lost to the Patriots. But going back to Drake May did not play well. He was not good. Most of his yards, total yards, came in the fourth quarter in garbage time. The throw to Stevenson, that touchdown, and the Mac Hollins one they were nice plays, but he was bad. He was really, really bad. That whole playoffs, he wasn't good. There were definitely questions about his turnovers, especially fumbling. He fumbles the ball a lot, and it showed in the playoffs. They literally, he fumbled the ball. The Seahawks took advantage of it. They scored off of that. And then also, I mean, the interception too, but that was just a great play for the Seahawks. And I'm not dismissing the Seahawks defense. That they literally were the most dominant defense, number one in DVOA in the NFL this year. So they were the best in the playoffs. I mean, you could argue, maybe Houston's team was the best. They had the best defense um, with Will Anderson and Derek Stingley and those guys. But Seahawks won a Super Bowl. They call them the dark side. You got, freaking, oh my gosh, they were so good. They're so good. Marcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Nick Emanwari. It's weird because Nick Emanwari, he's the rookie. He wears number three. So every time I see number three, I'm like, is that Russ? Is that a Russ jersey? So it's still a trip, um, seeing that number three. But I mean, do the Seahawks retire Russ's jersey? That's a whole nother conversation to have. Off the top of my head, we're just gonna talk about it now. I think they do. I think they definitely retire his number because I mean he was having a Hall of Fame career before he got traded to the Broncos. And also, thanks for wanting to get out of Seattle because they used um they used that number five pick that the Broncos finished with because they traded for Broncos. They had two first round picks, one of them being the Broncos first round pick in 2023, and the Broncos finished with that year horribly, and they had the fifth overall pick. So the Seahawks had that, took Devin Witherspoon, one of the best safeties in the league. Um, yeah, so sorry, he's a cornerback. My apologies. Can't believe I forgot about that. But yeah, so the Seahawks defense was amazing. The dark side just rocked it. They showed how, shout out to my Star Wars fans, that the dark side is actually stronger. You know, fear, power leads to fear, and fear leads to anger. Anger leads to the dark side. Shout out Yoda. Um, yeah, defense wins championships. Sam Darnold, my king, my savior. Thank you very much. Ginger Cuz, according to Marshawn, gingers are black. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get canceled. But Sam Darnold, what a freaking turnaround of a career. Holy guacamole. There's so much to talk about. His story is wild. Written off by the Jets. They said, they drafted him third overall. He had Adam Gase as his wide-eyed, open-eyed Adam Gase as his coach. Jets just the Jets are the Jets. They're just gonna be booty no matter what. It sucks to be a Jets fan. It absolutely sucks to be a Jets fan. Like, if we're talking about worst fans, would you? I mean, Mariners are playing better now, but for a while, definitely the Mariners for sure. Bills, Jets, Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs choke every time. Oh my God, it's what's with the Northeast, man? The Jets, the Bills, the Maple Leafs. Just, I mean, I hate to say it because I'm a fan too, but the New York Metropolitans, New York Mets, um, haven't won since was 86. That team was crazy. Good 30 for 30. Once upon a time in Queens. Let's get back to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, written off by the Jets, was traded to the Carolina Panthers after a few seasons with the Jets. Then he was benched and had a couple games benched. Found out Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were both on the Panthers at the time. And then Sam signs with the 49ers as the backup, learns what an actual football team looks like with Kyle Shanahan. He developed how to on how to be a quarterback, how to read a defense, how to understand an offense, how to watch film. Um, and then after, and then that's when I saw Sam play a game. I was like, oh, wait, he actually looks like he knows how to play football now, and he could be a good quarterback. And then Sam goes to goes to Minnesota, signs a 1 year deal. But at that point, when he signs when he signs, the Minnesota Vikings decide to draft JJ McCarthy in the first round with the top 10 pick. And I don't want to say thank you for getting injured, JJ McCarthy, but he got injured during training camp. So Sam got the nod, and Sam led the Vikings to a 14-3 year. So yeah, and even then, but one of the even then they threw him. They didn't want him. They didn't want him as their quarterback. He did have some. There's definitely questions with him because the last couple of games he had the last game he had the chance to take the take number one seed and clinch the NFC North, but did not play very well, played garbage against the Lions, and then in the wild card game versus the Rams, completely just played like garbage again. So people were like, can he do it in these big moments? Is it just the coaching? Is his team just that good? So there were definitely a lot of surrounding questions with Sam Darnold. Um, but where there's failure, there's opportunity to learn. And again, it's all about coaching and how you develop and how you just learn. Like I said, so Sam Darnold decides to sign a 3 year, 100 million dollar contract. Excuse me, 500,000 million dollar contract. Very team friendly. We love it. That's how you win a Super Bowl, to be honest. Unless you have Patrick Mahomes, team friendly contracts. Um, from there's history. uh, like I said, there were still concerns with Darnold, and to be fair, he had a lot of turnovers during the year, but he still played fine. He still played great. Led the Seahawks. Seahawks were 14-3 again. Yeah. So Darnold just kept it going with in terms of him showing that he can be a professional quarterback in the NFL and play actually really well. And the Jets are looking at themselves like, oh, mother. We really had God dang it, did we the Jets are gonna be the Jets. They're like Dante Moore, he's the quarterback from Oregon. He probably would have gone Fernando Mendoza's going number one overall. I mean, it's not the draft hasn't happened yet, but it's like minus 6,000 for him not to um not to be number one. But there was Dante Moore, the quarterback from Oregon. He was being talked about going um going to the draft and going to be taken by the Jets. And I think he was like, either take millions of dollars from Oregon and when you say Oregon and play another year and maybe I'll go number one next year, or play for the Jets, just get absolutely destroyed by New York media if I throw one interception and just have bad vibes. I mean, that's the other thing, you just look at Sam Darnold's journey. It's not just him developing as a quarterback, but it's also, learning mentally. Professional sports is so mental. It's such a mental game. It's, arguably, 80% mental, like mental ability, and then, your skill ability. Like it's just such a mental game. Some sports more than others, I will say, like golf and baseball, especially golf. One shot in golf adds so much of an impact that you just got to flush it away. You have to just flush it away. So, and if you're Sam Darnold, you're the third overall pick. You're in a huge market. New York sports market is, yeah, no, it's the biggest sports market in the country. Um, where you have guys like Mike Francesa just hounding you for being trash, and it's like, dang, am I this bad? Like, do I have what it takes to be a quarterback in the NFL? Because I'm not getting any support here. So I can't imagine what he was feeling like mentally and how down on himself and, no one believed in him. So for him to For him to be traded to be the third overall pick, then be traded to the Carolina Panthers as a backup. Well, he played a few games in that, but then got was the backup. Then another backup job, and then went 14-3, and then they just with the Vikings they decided we don't want you. Are you kidding me? Like, what else does he have to do? And he goes, all right, F you guys. I'm gonna go sign with the Seahawks. I'm gonna go with Coach Mike McDonald, who is a absolute baller. Shout out to him. I can't thank you enough, Mike McDonald, for bringing back a Super Bowl to the Seattle. And going back to New York sports market, there's so much to talk about. I hate the New York sports market. Good radio. I do like the radio. SNY, The Fan, great stuff. Um, but there's so much bias. They overreact about everything. There's so much bias, hashtag Cabral MVP. They swayed the MVP votes because Aaron Judge plays for the New York Yankees. So all the East Coast guys, the voters, was just like, no, it's Aaron Judge. It's not Cal. It's not like Cal hit 60 home runs. Most everybody switch hitter, most everybody catcher. One of the best, most. It's just come on. What else does Cal really have to do? I know running the home run derby doesn't really have to do anything with it, but bruh, led the league in RBIs by 20 plus. Like what else does he have to do? That's a whole nother thing I got beef with the New York sports market. But let's get back to the Seahawks. Darnold signs with Seattle. He goes, okay, this is I got KOC. He was a good coach. And then goes Mike McDonald, who goes, boy, we're just getting started. And even with all this turnovers, his coach still believed in him. His defense. We'll talk about the Seahawks. Go back a little bit more to the Seahawks defense. Um, his defense had his back. The team had his back. Ernest Jones versus that game in week 11, the 21-19 loss. Sam Darnold had a few turnovers, did not play that well. Costly turnovers too. And Sam supposedly went up to Ernest while they were, in the locker room saying, "Hey man, that's my fault. That's my fault. Like I messed up. I let the team down." And then Ernest Jones said, he has this. Ernest Jones is the definition of a leader, definition of a teammate, a great guy, just good vibes all around. I mean, he said after he said that stuff to Sam in the post-game conference, Ernest Jones said, quote, "Man, Sam's been balling. Um, if we tried to define Sam by his game, man, Sam's had us in every effing game. So for him to sit there and say, oh, that's my fault. No, it's not. There were plays that defensively we could have made. There were opportunities where we could have got better stops. It's football, man. He's our quarterback. We've got his back. And if you've got anything to say, quite frankly, F you." And Ernest Jones reiterated that statement in the celebration before the parade started at Lumen Field. He goes, "If you got anything to say about my team, about my defense, about my quarterback, I got two words to say. F you." Oh my God. And the shirts that they were wearing with Sam Darnold smoking a cig, holding a beer ball, putting up the middle finger. Quality stuff. Amazing content. Amazing time in Seattle. Wow. What a great time. The Seahawks team, if you look back at that 2000, if you that last Seahawks team who won 2013, won the 2014 Super Bowl, but they were huge personalities. I mean, Marshawn, not to say that these were knocks at all. Not to say these were knocks at all. It was awesome. The Legion of Boom. Brendan Browner, who, man, that's quite a career. Interesting career. But we'll talk about it. I don't know. You can look it up. But Cam Chancellor, not as big of an ego, but guys like Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Marshawn. I mean, even Pete Carroll. He was a leader, but I think there was some ego a little bit. Russ, not at the time. He was not that much of I don't want to say head case, but what's the word? Thinking more about himself than the team. When it comes to a contract, I get you want to get paid more, but yeah, they're a lot bigger personalities that kind of not took over the team, but downplayed their cohesiveness. And I think this current Seahawks team, you can tell, like everybody's got their backs. I mean, you saw when Reek Woolen got that unnecessary, not necessarily the unsportsmanlike conduct when he went over and made that stop against Puka Nacua in the Rams game, the NFC Championship game. And when after he made that play, deflected it, he looked at the Rams sideline and was talking crap, and he got that penalty that was costly because it was 4th and 5, and that it was they got a first down because of it. And then the very next play, Puka Nacua just cooked Reek Woolen for a touchdown, which was very costly because that made the game completely different. But then after you see Nick and Manwari, the rookie yelling at Reek Woolen. And rookies usually don't. Rookies are don't usually. They're used to carrying the team's bag, paying for the checks. They're afraid to stick up for their guys. But Nick Imamura did the right thing. He said, "Hey man, you effed up. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it real." He said, "You effed up. This is not how we play football here. We're supposed to play like a team, and you did something selfish." I'm not saying those were his words, but I can based off of based off of what they were arguing about and how they kind of hold the other team the players had to hold them back, and kind of Nick and Moore just said everything that a Seahawks fan wanted to say when he watched that ball. Maybe in a nicer way, you could say that some Seahawks fans probably use some profanity. Not saying I did, not saying I didn't, but it was great. You saw rookies stand up to, I mean, a vet is what, like 3 years, set up to experienced player. And Reek's a good player, but he's known to make schmuck plays, known to make, not have your head in the game. He cost the Seahawks the week 1 loss at the 49ers, and Jake Tonges caught that late game touchdown, and Reek just thought he had it and didn't really make a play. Kind of got mossed. Quick story about that. There was Brock Purdy was being interviewed before the Super Bowl talking about like the Seahawks and if they thought they were gonna win. He goes, "Yeah, we had the we beat them week 1." I'm like, "Dude, bruh, week 1 where you played like butt and you literally won the game because of Reek well, because of a player's mistake." Week 1. He's trying to pull that. Yeah, we beat them in week 1, but we smacked the 49ers the other 2 times we played them. Smacked. They didn't score a touchdown the last game of the season. Big old L. Sorry, as you can see, I am not a huge fan of the 49ers. But like I was talking, going back to this team, they just seem they love one another. It's just the cohesiveness and the camaraderie and the brotherhood is just the aura's there. It's screaming. Everybody's there for one another. Everybody holds each other accountable. And it's awesome to watch. It's great. It's amazing to watch. And not that it's saying, that the personalities of the last Super Bowl team, Seahawks team, were bad, but it's a different storyline in my opinion. And it's great. And I think they do have there's more veteran leaders on this team with Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence and Ernest Jones. So there's definitely more veteran leadership, but it's also coaching. It's coaching. I mean, Mike McDonald went in there in his second year as an NFL coach, just goes in there and wins the Super Bowl. He went in there and said, "I'm about to bring." Walk in there with this, I can't say that, but walked in there into that facility and said, "Hey, what you did in the past, great. You won a Super Bowl, made the playoffs a few times after that, but I'm different. I'm bringing I'm doing this, the words of Frank Sinatra, I'm doing this my way." And he did that. I mean, when he first got to that team, um, Mike McDonald's first moves was he just he got rid of most of the history of the Pete Carroll era. He, he removed the remaining remnants of the cult of Carroll's culture, the legacy. They had a basketball hoop at the team facility, got rid of that. They had pictures in the hallways, got rid of that. Had, some paintings, got rid of that. And to do that, especially for Carroll, who was there for a while and was a good coach for the Seahawks and was loved, Super Bowl winning coach was there. People loved him, great guy. But to do that right away takes stones, takes a lot of stones, and it was awesome. I mean, when he did that, I was like, oh, okay, dude means business. He means business, and he wasn't. I mean, and he proved. He goes, I'm gonna do this and show you guys how it's done, and he did, and it was awesome. I mean, and the guys rallied behind him. Whether it was, their defense and Sam, he saw that they believed in him, and Sam wasn't gonna let them down. Um, one of the, like I said, people had some knocks on Sam because of his turnovers during the regular season, but uh, I can tell you that Sam and I have the same number of turnovers in the playoffs, zero. Yeah, zero. He led the league in turnovers, and he goes, "Okay, playoff time. Let me cook." Threw four touchdowns, over 350 yards, and in the NFC Championship game against the Rams defense, who has a good defense. Um, I mean, they had his number in the past for sure. Threw four touchdowns, played amazing, amazing, and he had to because the Rams put over 400 plus yards on the Seahawks defense. So Sam had to step up, and he did. Um, this is definitely hardcore glazing Sam Darnold, but hey, man, he won a Super Bowl. So this honestly kind of makes you think let's go going into actually let's talk about the coaching. The boys rally behind Mike McDonald, Jesus, not that stoner on the Chargers. Excuse me, that's not very nice. Um, Mike McDonald said, God, God God picked him to coach along those lines. His brain was meant to coach, and it did, and it was awesome. Um, like I said, number one in DVOA. DVOA, the Seahawks were number one team in DVOA, which is defense adjusted value over average. It's a metric that measures, how good are you how good is defense based on every down, opponent's strength, how valuable a play is. Um, Also, crazy fun fact, the Seahawks only trailed 95 seconds in the playoffs. Yes, folks, 95 seconds, a minute and 35. I mean, wow, insane. A minute, 95 seconds they trailed in that first in the Rams game. It was a big chunk of it was in the Rams game. 95 seconds, insane. And shout out to Clint Kubiak, just taking this offense and ramping it to a whole nother level, showing how JSN is one of the best receivers in the league. You can make, I mean, the offensive put he helped JSN become the offensive player of the year. I mean, I mean, with the help of Darnold, but JSN's an amazing, amazing wide receiver, just top notch. I remember when they drafted him, I was on a um, architecture riverboat tour in Chicago watching the draft on my phone. And when they when the Seahawks drafted him, um, so yeah. And then, but as we talked about, we talked about the Seahawks, their offense, their defense, their coaching, but we got to talk about the guy who put that team together. And that man is John Schneider. John Schneider did something historic with that Super Bowl win. He became the only the only the only general manager to win a Super Bowl to win two Super Bowls each with a completely different roster and head coach between those two championship teams. I mean, come on. I mean, come on. After the Seahawks, they lost that Super Bowl against the Patriots. And it was dark times in Seattle for sure. I mean, the Seahawks they still had a good team, but something didn't feel right. And John Schneider just took advantage of so many great opportunities, trading Russ, free agent signings, DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Cooper Kupp. He saw, Cooper Kupp develop the crap out of Puka Nacua, and is from Yakima, Washington. Went to Eastern Washington, so Pacific Northwest native. So you know he's going to be loved. Only paying him $9 million too. Mm, money just hit on every draft class. Um, he hired. He said, "Okay, Pete, it's been fun. Your time's over in Seattle. Made the tough decision. Moved on from Pete, and then signed Mike McDonald. Um, and since they won, and even then, since the since the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl, their last no, sorry, since Seahawks have won the 2013 Super Bowl, they as a 14, they have only had one losing season, 7-10 in 2020. And the Seahawks haven't made a pick in the draft that wasn't originally higher their own than number 16 overall since that Super Bowl win. The only two picks they made that were higher than number 16 were Charles Cross at 9 and quarterback Devin Witherspoon at number 5. Um, he slipped up a little bit with that Jamal Adams trade. Was not a great trade. Jamal Adams was all pro guy. He was really good. Um, really good with the Jets. But then just how fast he went from one of the best safeties in the league to being so bad was like that. And Seattle Seahawks fans did not treat him right either. I mean, rightfully so. We traded, multiple first round more multiple picks for him, and he let us down, and he was really bad. Um, so I guess the Jets got some sort of payback. I guess a pre-payback. I don't know how you say it. John Schneider's built two dominant offenses, with the Legion of Boom and the Dark Side, as they call him. And he he's just done things that other general managers had. I mean, clearly, as I said, he was the first general manager to ever win two Super Bowls, each of those being um, with two different head coaches and two different rosters. Uh, yeah, and it's just so I mean it leaves me saying like, where does that leave him in terms of best general managers of all time? Not I No, maybe not the best general manager of all time, but smartest. I mean, he did some Sam Presti stuff. I'm not gonna lie. And you could argue that the Jamal Adams trade was the equivalent of the Paul George trade, the hot take, because they gave up some Pacers. OKC sent Domantas Sabonis to Pacers, and Sabonis blew up and thrived there. Um, but yeah, I mean, what my point is, John Schneider is a genius and did something that no other general manager has done before. So um, you really got to think about it wasn't it wasn't luck, it's skill. It was a vision. And it also makes you think about too, how do our NFL teams going to look at quarterbacks differently? Like high first round pick quarterbacks that maybe didn't succeed in their team that they were originally drafted with, or went to another team that was trash, not trash, but maybe had bad coaching, bad leadership. I like similar to Geno Smith. Um, the Jets also helped out. You know, I guess failed Geno Smith too. He went to Seattle. He played great. He did fine in Seattle. He was completion percentage leader in 2022 and comeback player of the year in 2022. Um, and the Jets, I mean, Geno Smith bounced around, a few teams. But when he came to Seattle, he was great. Um, so stuff like that. I mean, yeah. So where does that? I just want listeners to think. How does that? Our team's going to look at quarterbacks differently. Right, like Mendoza, if he goes to the Raiders, let's say. I mean, he doesn't have a super high ceiling. He's not super mobile. He's really accurate, super accurate guy. But the Raiders aren't. They got Derek Carr, and Yeah, he was franchise guy. He was there for a while. But do they have what it takes to develop Mendoza and build a team around him for Mendoza to succeed and be there long term? I mean, Clint Kubiak's their head coach, so and he's got Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and he'll have Mendoza, so not a bad start. Max Crosby, the defense is gonna be a little rough because think Max Crosby is I don't think he's gonna be on the Raiders next year. Um, and so yeah, it makes you think, maybe the teams try with Justin Fields one more time. No, Justin Fields is not good. No. Sorry, Justin Fields, but I know you were on the Jets last year, but uh, you, you're just not. It's just not it. Um, like Mac Jones. Mac Jones played great for the 49ers. Mac Jones played great for the Jaguars too. All I'm saying, can Mac Jones be back to a starter in the NFL next year? A temporary first year guy if the team drafts a quarterback, like maybe, I don't know, let's see, on top of my head, maybe Mac Jones could go to the Jets. I mean, there's talking about like Bailey Zappi could be the Jets quarterback. Um, but no, that's not gonna happen. I mean, like, like Ty Simpson. I think Mac Jones could definitely be a starter in the NFL next year for sure. I think he has what it takes. Um, would I would take Mac Jones over Shador Sanders in a heartbeat. Um, Cam Ward, no, I would keep Cam Ward. I mean, the CJ Stroud, the way he started didn't play fantastic. No, I'd still take CJ Stroud. Kyler Murray, we got to see him pick it up for sure. Definitely he was better than Geno this year. He would have started over Geno in Vegas. So yeah, going back to my point, teams could look at quarterbacks differently for sure and evaluate how they evaluate quarterbacks. Um, but yeah, just on a little fun facts. This year, the Seahawks kicker Jason Myers broke a Super Bowl record with five made field goals, breaking the record of four held by four players. Then he also set an NFL record this year, um, totaling 206 points. 206. That is 206. I mean, folks, he broke the record for the most points in a season through 17 games, including through the season and playoffs, with the number the 206 points, which is the area code of Seattle. They had to win the Super Bowl. It was meant to be, meant to be. Jason Myers is also all-time most field goals made by a Seahawks kicker. We love you, Stephen Hauschka, but oh man, Stephen Hauschka, what a guy. What a guy. Sunday, the Super Bowl was relatively clean in terms of penalties too. Just seven total penalties issued, with the first one not coming till the Patriots were flagged with 3 minutes and 7 seconds left in the first half. Um, Also, we need to talk about that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl in the 49ers home stadium and celebrated their Super Bowl win in their locker room, in the 49ers locker room. Ah, sweet Lord. Goosebumps right now. Just soaking it in, just soaking it in. Um, it was just an amazing time. It was also the Super Bowl 60 featured one of the most unlikely matchups as well. In at least 50 years, the two teams with preseason odds of at least 50 to 1 both reaching the title game. But after winning the Super Bowl, the Seahawks have earned their respect and have the best. Now they have the best odds to win the Super Bowl again next year. Um, Mike McDonald he was 38 and became the third youngest head coach to win a Super Bowl. Doing so in just his second year. Sean McVay was the second, was the youngest Super Bowl winning head coach winning the Rams in 2022 at 36 years old. Um, But Mike McDonald became the first Super Bowl head coach to win a Super Bowl as his team's primary defensive play caller. Kenneth Walker, or K9, won Super Bowl MVP this year. Broke a 21-year drought as becoming the eighth running back to win Super Bowl MVP, but it wasn't done. Last time it was done was 1998. Um, uh, was Terrell Davis with Denver Broncos. Excuse me. He rushed for 135 yards. Um, yeah, there's just some cool. It was honestly bizarre world for Drake May. Drake May set a Super Bowl record for fourth quarter passing yards with 235 of his 295 yards coming in the final quarter. But like I said, the fourth quarter stats did little to help overall postseason. Fourth quarter stats for May did not help his overall postseason numbers, which, according to NFL Advanced Statistics, EPA points is expected points added places his total postseason performance as the worst in NFL history. And this guy was one vote away from tying to get one vote away. Excuse me, can't speak right now. Of winning MVP. So, is Drake May really this good? Was it a schedule thing? Can he do this next year? Like, I don't know. Makes you think. You should be scared, Patriot fans, because the Seahawks are going to be back next year. Knock on wood. I don't know why I just said that because I might jinx it. So, ooh. Also going back to the dark side, Seahawks defense. While the game, Seahawks won that game by a lot. By the start of the fourth quarter, it was in the Seahawks' hands. The Patriots did salvage what was shaping out to be a historic defense performance by the Hawks. New England scored their first points of the game with 12 minutes and 27 left in the quarter. It marked the second time in NFL history both teams in the Super Bowl were held without a touchdown through the first three quarters, with the other one being the Rams and Patriots in 2019. No team in the Super Bowl history has ever been shut out. Yeah, I know I talked about the Seahawks for a while, but I had to, folks. They won the Super Bowl. I mean, after the season, how close the Mariners were from winning the World Series, George F. and Springer, even though George Springer did help the Mariners make to the wild card in 2022. Excuse me, folks, one second, need a sip of water. Excuse me, that is tasty. That it just felt really good for a team for I mean, championship feels good in any city, but Seattle it's just mm, we don't have the NBA anymore, but maybe we do in the future. It's possible. Just one more thing I want to go over with the Seahawks is, there's a lot of questions regarding their offseason. They have, Clint Kubiak, their offensive coordinator. He went to the Raiders, so there's a lot of questions. Who will be their new OC? They definitely want to promote in-house for sure. After, winning the Super Bowl, I don't blame them. Um, there's, Justin Oden, their offensive line coach, the run game specialist, special passing game coordinator Jake Peetz, and quarterbacks coach Andrew Janocko. But Peetz and Janocko, am I saying that right? Yes. 10 years, they both have 10 years of coaching in the NFL. Peetz is specifically has been one of the hotter names who could be promoted to an OC somewhere else. But some of these offensive coaches I just mentioned, excuse me, could follow Kubiak to Vegas. So, but also Seahawks need to identify the free agents as well. They have a bunch. They have 18 of the 22 starters under contract, but a lot of guys who contributed for the team are free agents. Kobe Bryant, key part of the Seahawks defense, the safety. Wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, all pro special teams guy. Just oh my gosh, he was so good for the Hawks. The Seahawks special teams is such a sneaky part of why they did so well in the playoffs. He had a kick return touchdown um, against the 49ers. That just blew open the gates, and you knew the game was over after that. He was so explosive in the Rams NFC Championship game. And you also saw why the Rams lost, too. They muffed the ball twice, and their special teams was buns. And shout out Michael Dixon, too. Um, Literally could have won Super Bowl MVP just from how well, just the amount of times that he punted inside the 20-yard line was just it was amazing. Shout out to the Aussies. Another guy who was big contributor, Tyreek Woolen. Like we know, we said, he kind of made some bonehead mistakes, but he's still good. He's still pretty good. Boye Mafe, he's been a key part of their defense, the linebacker, and obviously big part. Kenneth Walker, running back. He's had some injury issues in the past. You know, he's got an interesting personality. Like you see him, the way he runs, like so angry. I think he'd be like a wild guy, just crazy. But no, he's just literally the most low-key person ever. Ryan Clark asked him, uh, and Disneyland is he said, "Oh, I bet you guys got lit after the game." He's like, "No, I just hung out with my family." Just so nonchalantly. Um, other guys, other free agents, Josh Jobe, Derek Young. I think it's a hard decision because I really think you bring back some those guys on defense. Um, Kenneth Walker, I love you. You helped. You did amazing after Charbonnet got out. You were great this whole season. Seahawks fans can't thank you enough. I'm not saying I don't want you back, but get the bag, man. Get yours. Seriously, you deserve to get paid. I hope the Seahawks give you the money you want. Um, but yeah, you deserve to get paid. Get your money, man. Get it while you can. Running backs, sometimes you guys don't stick around for a while. So I would love to have you back, but go get your money. And this team show defense wins championships, and it really carried. I don't want to say carried, but it was a big contributor, this whole season. So I think we should focus on the defense a lot more. And because I don't want to say running backs are replaceable, but we still have Charbonnet. I mean, tore his ACL, but yeah, I really want to focus on the defense and keep that. People are going to be really intimidated. I mean, they were intimidated before, but now they're going to be real scared of the dark side. Um, so Seahawks will definitely have to work on have a lot of things to work on in this offseason. Uh, they have a lot of cap space though, like a bunch of cap space, which is great. So I just went a whole Seahawks rant, not a rant. Screw that. I'm not calling it a rant. I'm calling it a prideful speech of love for my city. Also, shout out Adam Ray for his fandom. Shout out Chris Pratt. Shout out Rainn Wilson. Shout out, my gosh, Joel McHale. All awesome dudes, all showing their love for the Hawks. They're all shout out to the 12s, man. Shout out to the 12s. We did it. We're the best fans in the god darn nation in all of sports. European soccer's got nothing on the 12s. Excuse me, European football, footy. I'm excited for the World Cup. That's coming to Seattle too. Uh, but shout out to the Hawks. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you, everybody on that team. Thank you to Steve Rabel. Thank you to everyone in the front office. Thank you to the match day assistants that helped put on the Ticketmaster tailgate. Thank you, everybody at the Hawks. Seattle, people in Seattle cannot thank you enough. Um, on to the Mariners. So, Mariners are going to start spring training here in a little bit. So it's a good time to talk about it, and maybe I'll do something, a quick episode, quick rundown after spring training. But let's talk about some of the big things that the Mariners have done this offseason. We will start with my man, the boss man, Josh Naylor. What a great guy. God, Josh Naylor. Me personally, I hope I'm not the only one, but I cannot say Josh Naylor's name without smiling. I mean, what a guy. Comes to Seattle, gets traded here, absolutely just immediately just embraces the team, embraces the city, embraces the Pacific Northwest. I almost said Pacific Northwest. That's hilarious. There was that video of picture with him in a Kraken jersey. Just God dang, man. Five. So Mariners, that was their biggest need was re-signing Josh Naylor, and they did it. They did it fast too. Um, like as soon as honestly as the free agency opened, they gave him a 5 year, $92.5 million deal. Um, it's it's actually DePoto's. This might surprise you, but it's I love you, Jerry. Great guy. This is Jerry DePoto's biggest free agent signing since, and it's not even close. I mean, I'll give it. If you guys want to guess what his second free agent signing was, I'll give you a pause. Mitch Garver, 2 years, $24 million. And that was since Jerry Dipoto took over the team in 2015. So it was second biggest before second biggest free agent signing that he was as general manager was Mitch Garver, 2 years and $24 million, which at the time it was like Dipoto was, you know, Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein being, he brought multiple World Series. He brought to Boston for the Red Sox, broke their curse in 2004, went to the Cubs, got them World Series 2016. So things were looking great for the Mariners when they signed Garver. I mean, I was happy. Mitch Garver. It was not very good. He was usable towards the end. We could use him at catcher when Cal needed a day off or at DH. Um, but Garver's coming off a good season with the Rangers, and you just won a World Series with them. So they spent money. I wasn't mad at it. I thought it was a good signing. I thought good veteran leadership. So at the time, it was fine. I was happy with it. But the Mariners' biggest contract was 10 years, 240 million. If you guys want to take a pause, guess who that was? Robinson Cano. Hey, but we got some solid years out of Robbie. Good second baseman for the Mariners, played 5 seasons, and then they traded him to the Mets, unfortunately, with Edwin Diaz. But guess what? Hey, you know what we got in return? Jared Kelenic. How about that, folks? We got Jared Kelenic in the return. I'd say it's pretty solid. A big thing was, dumping that contract, which was pretty big. Anyways, Josh Naylor. Uh, Naylor's coming off a monster season. He finished the season 295 average, 353 OBP, 462 slugging, 20 homers, 29 doubles, 92 RBIs, and 30 stolen bases. He stole so many bases once he came over to Seattle. It was almost like what's going on? Um, and he played 54 games with the Mariners. This was huge, not because the Mariners, not because he's a hitter, good hitter, and all that. I mean, it's a great reason, but this is huge for the Mariners because they needed to spend money. They had money to spend. They just came off of being, oh, how many outs were they? 5 outs away from the World Series. FU George Springer. And so they needed to make some moves. Teams are going to be better. The West will be better this year. AL West will be better for sure. So they needed to get Josh Naylor back. Um, Plus they just struggled to find consistent first baseman, above average first baseman. Even like average, to be honest. I mean, what's an average? 250 maybe. Uh, but I had a list of all of the first basemen that the Mariners have had over the years. So these are starting opening day roster ones. Last year was Rowdy Tellez, 2025 cut, waived midseason, DFA'd. Um, Through 2022 to 2024, we had Ty France, who was an all-star in 2022 and had a good season, but was just fell off a cliff. Um, 2 years, 2 years opening day, we had Evan White, Gold Glover, great player. His career kind of it's honestly sad. He just got injured. He was great first baseman, but only played 84 games in those 2 years. 84 games in 2 years. That's tough. So those are everyone was starting first baseman in 2021, 2020, 2021, 2019, Jay Bruce, 2018, deep cut Ryan Healy, 2017, Danny Valencia, 2016, Adam Lind, 2015, he had we had Logan Morrison, Justin Smoke, and Justin Smoke through 2011 to 2014. Who was awesome. I mean, I like Justin Smoke. He was a fun player. But yeah, so just reading those names, you're like, wow, mid. The Mariners have been mid. So I mean, it doesn't make you can't judge a team's um how good a team is based off their first baseman, but you guys get my point. So having Josh Naylor for 5 years is going to be great. Is so sweet. Um, he brings contact, power, toughness, and honestly vibes. Like I said, he loved Pacific Northwest as soon as he came in. Loved the city, embraced the city. He always talks about how much he loves the fans. He became a true Mariner so fast, and it was awesome. Second thing we'll talk about here for the Mariners offseason moves is Brendan Donovan. Um, the Mariners front office has the Mariners traded for Brendan Donovan. Um, they acquired Seattle in a three. It was a three-team trade between St. Louis and Tampa Bay Rays. The Seattle gave up their a few prospects, one of them being Gerardo Clint. He was their like the uh, switch pitching pitcher, so he pitched both left and right. But according to an insider, just kidding, not an insider, just they were no, reports were just saying that he was only going to pitch right-handed. Some draft picks, like good draft picks, um, and they gave up Ben Williamson. Ben Williamson went over to Tampa. But yeah, Brendan Donovan. Um, is solid. And the Mariners, first of all, let's talk about the Mariners have shown that they're not afraid to give up prospects, and they're not afraid to be bold. I mean, being it's not bold giving up, Ben Williamson, and we'll talk about um, Harry Ford later, but their prospects, those guys have been in their system, especially Harry Ford for a while. He's always talked about it's been in at least a couple of the Rising Star, what do you call them? I think Rising Star games for the all for the what they have during the All-Star games. Um, yeah, it went up through, Everett to play the big leagues. Same with Ben Williams. Ben Williamson playing? Yeah. But they were like young guys who haven't played a lot of games in MLB and who could still be good, because you got to get a lot of experience to know if you're good or not. Well, it's not, some guys could just be not good all right away. Okay. My point being, I'm not going to say Ben Williamson is a future superstar, but they'd be top prospects, top young guys for a lot of teams. But um, they're done being like, hey, we have a bunch of young guys. Let's move on from them. Let's actually make moves that can help us win and bring us back to Brendan Donovan. He's a career 282 hitter and he's won a Gold Glove and he's a utility player. He can play third base, outfield, shortstop, second. Um, One of the best contact profiles in the league in baseball. Um, 13.5 strikeout rate, which is top 15 in baseball. And the Mariners have had a lot of guys and have had a lot of hitters recently in the past few seasons that have struck out a lot. So this is really important, especially in T-Mobile Park for contact and because it's such a pitcher's ballpark. Eugenio Gino Suarez signed back with the Reds, so he's gone from the Mariners. So they'll probably put him at third base. And if you look at their and Donovan, who batted two. Sorry, not career is 282. He batted 282 last year. I think his He batted 285. Oh, career batting average 282, but he batted 285 last year. So if you look at their lineup, um it's gonna probably gonna be will be Cal at catcher, first base Naylor, second base Cole Young. We'll see how they, what you saw of Ryan Bliss as well. So and Cole Emerson. We'll see how those guys do. So I think it'll be I'll talk about a little bit more about that later, but as of now, maybe Cole Young at second, shortstop JP, third base Brendan Donovan, Cal at Cal, left field Randy, center field Julio and Victor Robles at right. That's a pretty solid team. Pretty overall team. Especially, the Blue Jays losing Bo Bichette. He went to the Mets, so and they were pretty good. Bo Bichette almost led the league in hits almost at one point, but then he got injured. But um yeah, so the Mariners with Brendan Donovan have a solid lineup now. Um, yeah, and he's a cheap contract. He's under contract till 2028. Um, and the funny thing is that the Mariners have been trying to trade for Donovan for a while now. It extended during the season last year, and he's been a top priority for them. But the Cardinals were not, you know, they weren't having it. So I think that it mean they definitely paid a heavy price for Donovan, but I trust the Mariners front office at this point. They picked up Robles. They've developed their players. You look at their pitching rotation. Besides Castillo, all of their starters have been guys that they've brought up and developed. Um, I mean, yeah. So I trust the Poto. Mark from Maple Valley. I think you got to have different thoughts now. Hopefully y'all get that reference. Yeah. So I'm happy what the Mariners are doing. Super excited to see Donovan in a Mariners uniform. I'm really looking forward. I mean, Dipoto and Justin Hollinger are doing good things, and it feels good to be a Mariners fan. Like it's weird. I'll get into this little personal anecdote. Not really an anecdote, but we'll move on to the third thing I want to talk about for the Mariners offseason transactions, and that is trading for Jose Ferrer. And Ferrer is a solid lefty, good arm, good bullpen guy. Mariners needed to address a little bit more at their bullpen. Um, in the final 2 months that he was in Washington in DC with the Nationals, he racked up 11 saves, a 4.48 ERA, 92 ERA plus, where a league average is 100, so pretty good. Um, but if we want to get more into the analytics, he ranked in the 94th percentile in fastball velocity, and and his 97.7 average. He was the 95th percentile in walk rate, 4.9%, 93rd percentile in barrel rate, and 99th percentile in ground ball rate. I mean, the nerds love him. That's screaming just nerds. The gummy clusters are everywhere regarding Jose Ferrer. Man, mixed berry, original fruit punch. Nerds are up, nerds gummy clusters. We're all there for Jose Ferrer. Funny enough, the Seattle actually tried to get Ferrer from Washington all the way back in 2019 trade deadline when Ferrer was just 19 years old. Um, at the time and pitching at the Nats, just their rookie level affiliate. In that context, it was Mariners Ferrer's acquisition. Yeah, we should talk about who they gave up. They gave up um, Harry Ford, who I talked about, the number four prospect in MLB pipeline, not the number four MLB prospect in the MLB pipeline, which is the MLB, those are top 100 prospects, but it's the Mariners, like their team's number four prospect. And Harry Ford was, least I think number one at one point, definitely number two for sure as their top in terms of prospects. I remember when I was doing sports journalism, a few years ago, I wrote on. Mariners like top prospects to watch. One of them being Harry Ford. Um, so it's a bummer to see Harry Ford leave because he's been with the team, like I said earlier, for a while. Played, you know, a handful of games last year with the Mariners. Um, so the Mariners gave up Harry Ford, minor league right-hander Isaac Leone. Um, so yeah, it's funny how the Mariners really wanted Ferrer in 2019, but ended up getting them. What is that? Oh, like 7 years later, 7 seasons later, five, yeah, 7 seasons. So yeah, and like I said, it's another showing, that them trading Harry Ford. It's another way and another prospect. This Isaac Leone, he's not ranked, but Harry Ford, who has been hyped and who who could have been good, who could be good, and the Mariners saying, yeah, we don't, this doesn't matter. They're young, they could be good. I mean, they also have Cal, so that kind of makes a difference, but they're not afraid to trade their young guys. And I really respect that because some teams are are play the safe game and are like, okay, yeah, we did well, but I don't want to give up our young guys, which is fair, I guess. But when the Mariners got as close as they did last year to the World Series, it was time that, they're like, okay, we need to. They didn't go all in yet because they still got, plenty of good prospects, but they're putting in guys, guys who are good prospects with Ben Williamson and Harry Ford who haven't gotten a ton of big league at bats. Um, so who could be, maybe they're not going to be superstars, like multi-time all-stars, but they could be good. And for a lot of teams, like if you put Harry Ford on the Angels or Ben Williamson on the Angels, it's like having Otani on their team. That makes, like, in terms of the team's future, is makes it a lot more significant. So those guys, like I said, could be top young guys on a lot of different teams. But yeah, so thank you for your time, Ben Williamson and Harry Ford. CU Seattle thanks you, and we hope for the best in your future career. Um, but yeah, Mariners, they're like, okay, let's do this. Freaking George Springer ruined our chances to not win a World Series, but oh my gosh. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, I was just going into a little sad boy moment. Man, so close, so close. Okay, let's get out of that headspace. Let's move on. Um, This one's kind of a boring segment. Not boring. I try to find a different way to saying Mariners need to step up, because it sounds very basic. We're gonna come up with a new name in the future, but right now we're just gonna call it as, hey, I think you need to play better, or hey, I think this is your time. I should have just asked ChatGPT, man. Um, but then, yeah. Anyways, so let's talk about Mariners who we're looking to step up, or yeah, we're looking to step up. First of all, obviously. I mean, maybe it's not. Yeah, I'm gonna go obvious. Victor Robles. Victor Robles was a Victor Robles the Mariners picked up Victor Robles in 2024 after being waived by the Nationals. He wanted to tear with the Mariners. It was awesome. I mean, Robles was a high prospect, high touted prospect, um, for a while. And I remember, I mean, I follow MLB pretty extensively, especially the prospects and those in the MLB pipeline. I remember getting a Victor Robles rookie card before he even played a first Bowman card before he ever played a game in the MLB because he was up there in terms of people thought he was gonna be really good. And so he got waived by the Nationals, but when the Mariners picked him up, he played 77 games with the M's with the Mariners, and he batted 328, a 393 OBP, 30 stolen bases, 75 hits, 20 walks, um, in those games. So that's pretty dang good, people. Uh, so I was really excited for 2025. Um, and the Mariners also rewarded Robles after that with a 2-year deal. But 2025, I was super pumped for Robles. I was like, okay, he's gonna keep this momentum going. Uh, Unfortunately, Robles dislocated his shoulder on an amazing catch. My goodness, that was an awesome catch. he made diving catch, only just the 10th game into the season. Um, and he was also at that point he was on an 8 game hit streak too. So that was a little more disappointing because he definitely provided a lot of. He was a good bat for the M's. And then we also had to put Dylan Moore in right field. Yeah, and Luke Raley, who I'm fine with Luke Raley, but Dylan Moore was. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Dylan Moore. Just, but yeah. So, and when Robles came back in August, he definitely wasn't the same. I mean, and it's fair. You dislocate your shoulder. I don't expect you to be a 300 level hitter. He finished with a 245 average. Excuse me, in 32 games, which is small sample size. 30 games isn't a lot, so you can't judge too much. Um, so to my point, with with Robles having a fully healthy off season, um, I'm excited. I think he can. I think he could be, hit at least above 260 for sure. Um, yeah. So, and hopefully, I said he's got a team option in 2027. So maybe if he plays enough, he plays into the option, the team picks it up, and maybe picks up the team option, maybe give him an extension as well. And I would love him to be Seattle, for longer for sure. Um, and second, we're gonna talk about is player who I hope who needs who's on the hot seat. Yeah, let's call it who's on the hot seat for sure. Um, is Cole Young. With Polanco gone, Polanco played second last year. Um, Cole Young definitely took some games at second, but he wasn't very good. Um, he was one of their top prospects. He's been in the MLB pipeline for a while. He's pretty hyped. I mean, not pretty hyped, but people were really excited about Cole Young for sure. He got called up in May, and his first game he had a walk off, which was pretty exciting. So that's an experience you can't ever take away from him. But in 77 games, he had 257 plate appearances. He had a 211 average, a 302 on base percentage, which is pretty high actually. If you, accounting that his batting average was 211. So, so yeah, I'll give him that high on base percentage, which, can work according to Billy Bean and the Moneyball. And he had 47 hits. Sorry. Uh, the Mariners haven't had a consecutive second base, haven't had consecutive second baseman for their opening day roster since Robinson Cano's departure in 2018. Um, he has a promise to be a solid hitter with more big league at bats, and seeing how he does in spring, maybe he'll get the starting day nod for opening day. Like I said, earlier in the pod, the Mariners still have Ryan Bliss. He started at second last year for them. So it's on, and they still have Cole Emerson. So fans I'm itching to see who will play second. So right now, it's really just Cole Young's spot to lose. Third is quick. I think you guys can maybe guess what I really want for the Mariners in 2026. Okay, it's Julio. It's Julio in April. That's just that's all I want. Just a solid Julio in April. I mean, it's actually it boggles me his numbers between Julio's April is the swing for the fence month. That's what I call it. It's he literally every time in April. It's crazy how he just wants to swing as hard as he can every at bat. And I love you, Julio. You're an awesome guy. I have your jersey. You were one. I remember being at the MLB store, um, in 2023, and was like, Julio is going to be the next Ken Griffey Jr., which I mean, maybe not actually, but I mean the trajectory. Julio is on a Hall of Fame trajectory pace. That run he had in August in 2023, holy crap, that was unreal. Um, but yeah, let's look at so March only 11 games. That doesn't really it's kind of an offset. Julio in his career is batted 211. Um, in April, we have a average of 230, and if we go to May, it's 279, and June, it's 251. In July, it's 281. In August, it's 320. And in September, it's 295. In the four games he's played in October, postseason, he's batted 357. Yeah. I just, if someone can explain to me why, I mean, I guess it's just like, I mean, there's a reason. I guess you just need to be warmed up, is my guess. He just has to, keep getting swings and just gets warmed up. But man, solid Julio April. That's when my birthday's in April, and that's what I want for it. That's what I want for my birthday. I want I want a healthy Julio Rodriguez. Okay, so he has in April, his career games in April is 30 382 at bats and 122 strikeouts. So, and that's let's do this math. 382, 122 divided by dun, 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 dun. Come on. Why isn't this? Where is the internet when I need it? Come on. Pause. Yeah, but Julio in April, healthy Julio in April would be not a health, sorry, a solid Julio in April would be fantastic. Just a tiny, I know I've been talking about this for a little bit now, but I I just want it so bad. But Julio, you are amazing nonetheless the rest of the season and could go down as top, I mean, definitely top five Mariners player of all time for sure. I was gonna say top three, but I mean, if you look at Cal Raleigh, Cal's had that could be a pod episode for sure. Well, I could talk about it another time. As Cal Raleigh had the best Mariner season ever. Um, Griffey had some insane seasons. Ichiro MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season. It's it. Yeah, it's a discussion to have for sure. So, as I said, Julio's had 382 at bats in April in his career and 122 strikeouts. That is basically 32% of his at bats are strikeouts in the month of April. It's pretty high. So yeah, but Julio, you're an amazing player. You're fantastic. You're such a nice guy. You're so good to City of Seattle. We love you. I'm being dramatic and I apologize. I'm just really excited for the Mariners' upcoming season. So blame me if you want to. You absolutely can blame me for being dramatic, but I'm excited for the Mariners season, and it's going to be a little more difficult for them for sure because the A's are good, man. A's are going to be good. They got some crazy good prospects from that Mason Miller trade from the Padres last year. Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson was top three in average in the American League last year as a rookie. And they have Nick Kurtz, who is going to be he could be Pete Alonso in terms of hitting dingers. Just he won Rookie of the Year last year for them. Oh, let's go. He plays first baseman. He could be the next. Last year he had batted 290 with 36 home runs, 86 RBIs, and 122 hits in 117 games. A lot of strikeouts. But yeah, so the A's will be scary for sure. And they still have like Lawrence Butler too. Um, they've got good players for sure. And then they're gonna be scary. Angels are skip. Sorry, I just had to. It was too good. Astros they're gonna get Yordan Alvarez back. They lost Valdez, but they still got solid pitching. Correa's back. Correa's there again. He's good. Jose Altuve is always gonna be good. God dang. Jose Altuve used to be one of my favorite players, but broke my heart. Broke my heart after cheating. And honestly, I don't know if I still would have liked him even if they didn't cheat because I hate the Astros just in general. Just hate them. Who am I miss? Who am I leaving out? And Rangers. Rangers got Mackenzie Gore from the Nationals. Um, and Corey Seager will be back. He'll be healthy. They got Brandon Nimmo in that Marcus Semien trade, and Brandon Nimmo's a solid outfielder. So yeah, no teams got worse in my opinion. Um, and oh my gosh, what am I blanking on his name? Josh Jung will be healthy. Nathaniel, Nathaniel Lowe. Oh my gosh, who is their catcher? Um, Nathaniel Lowe, he's really good for. Is he still in? Yeah. Da, da, da. Yeah, but the AL West, but my point being the AL West is going to be better for sure. So, yeah, Mariners got some competition to look at for sure to face. Okay, moving on to something I'm excited to talk about is there going to be a NBA team in Seattle? I think there will by at least the year 2030. Some news broke out that Bob Ferguson, the state of Washington's governor, had a private meeting with Adam Silver about a team returning. Um, so that was exciting, but not enough to be like, oh man, we're getting a team back. Because it's just, oh yeah, private. There was literally the quote was the only thing in quotations was like private meeting. So it's like okay. But what really drew my attention was the news reporting that the league is gonna vote um on a extension team. You're gonna have the owners will vote on if they want to have extending team extended to the league. There's 30 teams in the NBA right now, and they are gonna vote if they want to open to 32 teams. And I definitely think they should. Obviously, I'm biased because of, Seattle and losing a team. Um, but they'll probably move at least one of the Western Conference teams to the Eastern Conference. You could probably think New Orleans or Minnesota to the Eastern Conference. Or you move both either Memphis and New Orleans to the Eastern Conference, and then you put Vegas. And the teams being for the expansion definitely going to be Vegas and Seattle. I think it's just, you know, end of discussion. Those two cities would get a team. 23 out of the 30 voters or 30 owners have to vote yes. So, that's a good amount. Um, it will be easy to say yes. Um, and if they expand, the owners will make money. They cost between $5 to $7 billion for an expansion fee. So that's two teams. So let's say it's $6.1 million for an expansion fee. That's $12.2 million. Divide that up by 30. The owners are making money. Um, and I mean, the city, Seattle and Vegas, the market's there. Imagine they could literally set any like the price of season tickets for however much they want, and they'll sell out no matter what. Like you can make the 300 level tickets. I guess there's no 300 level. If you make like that nosebleeds, the press box tickets in Climate Pledge Arena, 300 per game, and they'll still buy it because people are that desperate. They're that hungry for a team for their team to be back, especially after this OKC won the freaking NBA Finals. That one really stung for sure. So, and talking about Climate Pledge, like there's literally arena for it. Like if you're in the bottom level of Climb Punch Arena, there's literally a locker room. That's just a storage area for now that says NBA locker room on it. Is what I've been told. Don't know if that's true or not. And market size, yeah, going to market, they can set have the price for for season tickets for how much they want. Jerseys will sell out in record-breaking time. I think Fanatics or whatever they sell on NBA.com, even the third-party like jerseys that come from China, the fake ones will crash their website because so many people will want to buy jerseys. Ownership groups, there's someone will buy just Bezos, just give them $100 billion and be like, give me all the teams in the NBA. Um, maybe I have to compete with Ballmer, but owner, yeah. So there's going to be people would definitely buy the teams. I'm sure they could get either one owner, at least three. I'm sure there's going to be an owner. Someone will want to buy the teams for sure because the sports team only goes up in value if you most of the time if you run a, if it's run the right way, it only goes up. So especially in a professional, and then like the four major ones, like the NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL. Um, yeah, so a team is only going to go up in value. So it's an investment. Um, like I said, the fans, it's all sitting there, it's all lined up, ready to go. Like you see it with the Kraken. People love hockey in Seattle. They've embraced it. Um, the Kraken have built rivalries with the Avalanche, with the Knights, with the Canucks. So the cities, I mean, Vegas is ready for it, but Seattle is right now ready for it. If it happened overnight, people would be at the stadium before the teams even got there. So yeah, it will. I'm feeling very strongly like that Seattle will get an NBA team by the year 2030. And if the owners vote on it, vote yes on expansion teams, at least by, they're saying 2028, 2029 season, but I'm just going to go and say at least by 2029 2030 season, which is crazy to say. And there's enough talent in the NBA. Uh, and if there's enough talent, and if the teams do expand, you give them each team randomize, give them the same odds as they would if they were going to get a top five pick. Um, so it's fair for the teams that have the high odds of getting picked that tanked, most likely tanked, unless they're going to fix those rules. It's a whole other discussion to have. But the one thing you could talk about is, are these teams going to tank? I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but there's been a lot of scrutiny regarding the NBA and tanking. So would two teams make it even that are probably going to be bad, going to going to make the tanking problem worse? I don't know, but I'm still going to have it. I'm still for it. I'm not for tanking, but for getting a team back. Um, but yeah, talent's there. I mean, the NBA is honestly, it's a lot harder to play. The team is more skilled now. You have to be able to shoot the ball from farther back, aka be able to shoot the three. Um, so yeah, talent's there. It's gonna be exciting. And with more teams, with an expansion draft, teams can also find free feelings right. Teams can trade guys to get under the tax and the apron so they don't get penalized or have to pay a bunch of money in the tax. So they can send contracts out. I remember in the NHL expansion draft, you had a lot of the guys um, that were on the trade block were guys that had contracts that teams didn't want anymore, who were like decent players, but their contracts were just too big. So teams have the opportunity to get rid of guys, um, just get rid of guys they don't want, who other teams they have the opportunity to get rid of guys that the teams would have to send draft assets for in order for another team to take on, like a Trey Young deal, that they gave the Hawks gave up draft assets in order to get Trae Young off their books. Uh, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. If we're talking about shooting and skill, there was 17 guys attempting six attempts or more, six attempts from the three-pointer and 10 years ago in the 2015-2016 season. Now there's 46 players attempting six three-pointers or more. You had you had six players scoring 25 points per game, 25 plus points per game in 2015-2016. Now you have 18 players scoring 25 points per game or more. So yeah, it's a big difference that players are scoring more, and the league's just all about scoring for sure. But the skills are there. The teams are developing guys way differently. And yeah, so there's talent to be there for expansion teams, is what I'm trying to say. So we'll see how that gets played out in the rest of the season. I will be very excited to see. I mean, I remember going to Sonics games. I remember meeting uh Darren Collinson. Yeah, Darren Collinson and what like Derek Collison. No, Darren. Oh my gosh, Derek Collinson. And well, gosh, how was I? 5 years old, and I thought that was awesome because it was an NBA player and he played for the Sonics. And yeah, it was a awesome experience to be meeting. Sorry, oh my gosh, that's so disrespect to Nick Collinson. I'm sorry. I apologize. I meant Nick Collinson. Jeezy Pete's. Excuse me. Yeah, Nick Collinson. Um, he is a good friend of a family friend of ours, so he came out to my school and we got to meet him. And yeah, and I went to a few games growing up as well. So I would be um, very, very happy if a team got back to Seattle, and I know everybody else would be. And then Seattle would just be whole again. They'd have a hockey team, they'd have a baseball team, they would have a soccer team, and which all the Kraken are competitive this year. The Sounders are competitive. Mariners are going to be competitive. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see it happen. And they would vote in the summer too for the expansion team. All right, enough of the rambling. Guys, it's been a huge pleasure being back on the pod. I didn't think I was gonna do it again. But yeah, it's been a great experience. Thanks for letting me rant and yap. And I know I kind of went off. Uh, I can't even. It went off the rails, not off the rails, but I got sidetracked. Was what I'm trying to say. I can't think of words right now. I've been talking for quite a while now. We don't know. Going back to Sonic, we don't know if it's coming back or not, but that green and gold is gonna hit hard for sure once we see it. Um, Real quick, I think KD is waiting until the Sonics come back and he's going to play his last season in Seattle and then retire. I would bet. I'm not a betting man, but I think that'd be a storybook ending to his career for sure. Overall, Seattle sports are alive. The Mariners are contenders, like I said. Seahawks are champions. Sonics might finally be coming back. If you're a Seattle fan, take a pause, inhale, exhale, enjoy the moment. Every day has been like Cloud Nine since Seahawks won a Super Bowl, but baseball, April, baby, March, April, Mariners are back, baby, and I might hit another pod sooner than later. We'll see. Thanks for listening, guys. Take it easy.